Hello and welcome to Sideways. Now, I'm very much a creature of habit. For example, I always record this introduction at the same time in the same place. It's familiar, predictable. I like that. To some extent, we all enjoy the certainty we attach to regular patterns of behaviour, but sometimes they aren't so helpful. And so this week, we try and sort out the good habits from the bad ones and discuss ways of changing the ones that you don't want anymore. Martin experiences some software issues. It turns out we both bore people to sleep, which is unsurprising, seeing as how we also discuss how much breakfast cereal is too much and discover that neither of us has ever hugged a musician. Habits. I seem to be looking up at you more than I usually do this morning.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is.
I had problems with my camera.
Oh, what, not your new one?
Yeah, the software which you download, which you can run it, which you can narrow the field of view and do all sorts of things with it. The software no longer runs for some reason, I went back to the website to try and reinstall it, and it said it's not available. So I don't know what's going on.
That must be frustrating.
It's the reason I bought the camera, so it's very frustrating. Yeah,
I can see it in your face, your frustration.
I spent the last hour trying to sort it out, and no good.
It's a shame we're not doing frustration this morning, because I think you'd probably have a lot to say.
I put it on my frustration list at the end.
Mind you, I think if we probably in a situation like that where it was so raw, you'd probably start swearing.
I was swearing a little bit before I logged in, but I'm all right now.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I'm not gonna press at those wounds.
No, I don't think so. They're still open.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can heal them this morning, shall we?
Said in true therapist fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to talk to you about this morning was it's something that's often associated with us people in addiction, which is habits, and why we are creatures of habit.
Okay.
Because I know that they can, if the wrong habits, they can hijack a successful recovery. So I think it's quite an important one.
It is. That's a very good one, isn't it? Because addiction in and of itself is a destructive habit, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But before we go too much further, a little bit of feedback from last week. Well, actually, in fact, I had feedback from one of the guys, Big G, who comes to groups.
Big G? Is that me?
Well, no, he is a Graham as well. You're right, yeah.
I don't think I've ever been called Big G.
No, he's taller than the pair of us, mate.
What, put together?
Put together, yeah. But
okay, Big G, yeah.
Yeah, well, he's off on a holiday, and he's going to be listening to all our. He's going to do a Ronnie and go back from the very beginning and have a listen through while he's sunning himself in Malta. Which is nice. It is, but nice. He stumbled across our football special, which he really enjoyed because he's a big City fan.
There should be some sort of special recognition of people who listen to every episode. I think
so. Yeah,
we should have a Hall of Fame or something, shouldn't we?
We should. We also have a Hall of Fame for those people, which there seems to be an increasing amount of people that listen whilst they're in bed because it sends them to sleep. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not.
Oh, yeah, I think that is quite a compliment, really. Because, well, yeah, I do. Because I think it would be more of an insult if they listened to us in the morning and it sent them to sleep and then they were late for work.
True,
that
yeah.
Would be. But I think being listened to when people go to bed, that's quite nice, isn't it? Because what it says is that we're not agitating. We're kind of, there's something soothing about it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, obviously, there is a sort of boring connotation there, but I can live with that. I think if we're considering how important sleep is to us, both psychologically and physically, I think if we're helping send people to sleep, we're doing mankind a great service.
You think so? Well, I'll take it as a compliment then. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure, but perhaps it is. You've talked me round.
I think we should. Yeah, I think we should. I'm sure if I listened to us when I went to bed, I'd fall asleep.
Fall asleep straight away. Yeah, listening to your own voice, that's a bit tricky. The subject matter of why we are creatures of habit. I've got 5 quotes I want to discuss with you. That makes up the bulk.
5?
Yeah, well, I want to talk to you about each one, really. That's
okay, all right.
that's before I just go on to looking at, there's a quick little list of the top 10 bad habits, which I'm sure.
Great. This sounds interesting. I'm quite looking forward to this episode.
And then tips for overcoming these bad habits as well. So that's what I wanted to do. But
I'm just going to sit back and listen.
Well, no, because I want feedback on these quotes.
Oh, all right. Okay.
What you think of them, because they're not all I don't agree with them all, but we'll have a run through and see how we go.
Okay.
The first one is humans are creatures of habit. It's in our nature to seek out patterns and avoid change. Even the most unpredictable people have habits. They aren't necessarily bad, but can be problematic when they negatively affect your health and relationships with those around you.
It's not pithy, is it, that quote?
It's not, but it said we seek out patterns, which, yes, we are pattern-seeking mammals, and avoid change. I think that's probably true before you do a little bit of work on it, because avoiding change, I think we've talked about this in the past, haven't we? It's when you grow, isn't it, when you start to change things and try and once you get stuck in a rut, it's life can become a little bit boring, can't it?
Yeah, I think it's true that we are naturally avoidant of change, though. I think, most of us, because I expect this will come up in one of your other multiple quotes, but to me, one of the kind of benefits of habits for us is that it makes us kind of feel safe because life feels predictable. Yeah. And so I think that's probably why we tend to be resistant to change, because change is uncertain, isn't it? And although we need some uncertainty, because as you say, otherwise life would be very boring and we wouldn't grow, but we quite like the idea of certainty. And I think, if you have a habit where, I do this, for instance, we do this every Sunday at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
There's something when you kind of think about that, you make the assumption, we'll still be here. Everything will still be all right next Sunday at 11 o'clock. We don't know that, but it gives us a sense of comfort. So I think that's probably why we're kind of resistant to change.
Which is a good point. The second quote was, it says that all habits proceed through 4 stages in the same order.
Oh,
yeah, I know. Yeah, I didn't realise this, but this is what I wanted to discuss.
I'm going to write them down. Go on.
Okay. The order is cue, which is like a trigger, effectively. Craving, response, and reward. This 4-step pattern is the backbone of every habit, and your brain runs through these steps in the same order each time.
It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Because the cue is the thought about it. It's 11 o'clock on a Sunday, I'm going to do this. Craving, I suppose, is, it has certain connotations, doesn't it, the word craving?
Yeah, it does.
But I suppose what it's saying is if you don't do something you're expecting to do, then it unsettles you. So the antithesis of being unsettled is probably that kind of craving. I want to do it because this is what I do. You then respond by doing the thing, and the reward is, that's it, I can kind of tick it off. So I suppose that makes sense. I don't know how helpful it is, but I suppose it makes... Well, actually, I suppose the way it's helpful is when you come on to think about destructive habits, where it's helpful is understanding where in that process you can kind of cut in and interrupt the flow.
I agree, and I'll sort of come on to that.
Do you?
Yeah, in a bit. But the next one,
I thought you would.
The next one is it's sort of I'll read it out in the first person, but it's not me saying this, but this was the quote. A friend of mine kept a dozen or more boxes of the same breakfast cereal lined up in his kitchen. He enjoyed this particular cereal and did not want to waste any brain power seeking an alternative. What he lost in variety and spontaneity, he made up for in efficiency. That, in a nutshell, is the virtue of habits. They're automatic, learned behaviours, and provide a quick answer to life's puzzles.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. I think that, when you think about the benefits of habits, that is one of the other key benefits of habits for us as human beings, automation.
Yeah. Having a dozen cereal boxes all lined up, that's a little bit over the top. Even I don't do that.
Well, yeah, I suppose. But then I don't know, again, if you're going to come on to talk about this, but there's kind of gradients, aren't there, of habitual behaviour.
Yeah.
We're in a funny sort of way, we're probably not the ideal people to be talking about habits, because we're both quite rigid in our habits. I mean, I'm particularly so. I don't think you're not as bad as I am, but I'm particularly strong of habit. And so that sort of behavior of having a dozen cereal boxes lined up, I know for a lot of people listening, they'll think that's just weirdness, but actually, yeah, I can see why you'd want to do that.
I can't see that many. They go stale before you got to the number 12.
Well, I don't like breakfast cereal anyway, so it wouldn't worry me. But I suppose I could think, if I think of something similar, it would be like me running out of flour. I buy flour even when I don't need it so that I know that it's there when I need it. Same stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because I know I'm going to be using it. So you probably got something like that. Perhaps you do that with vaping.
Definitely with that sort of thing. Yeah. Make sure you got the juice in.
You probably do you think you have something like that though in the work arena, for example? For instance, you wouldn't want to run out of, I don't know, white spirit or whatever it might be.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. That's it's a little bit loose. But there is a system. In fact, my brother uses it from his sort of working in a factory, manufacturing days when he's running factories. Because I think it's a Japanese thing. It's called Kanban, and it is making sure that you never run out of things, basically, so that you have a certain amount in stock, and you're obviously aware of dates by when it'll run out by and that sort of thing. So yeah, but I think that does make life easier if you do have some sort of structure there. That's for sure.
Yeah. I probably used to be like that with plectrums.
Yeah. Well, except when you forgot them to take them to eat. I remember coming all the way back from Sevenoaks because you'd forgotten the plectrum.
Well, it's a pity we're not gigging now because I don't use them anymore.
Well, I think
I can't. And it's impossible for me to forget my fingers. So.
Well, they are attached to you. But I remember trying to persuade you to try, rather than use a plectrum, use a 10-pence piece or something. And
and I probably said to you, "Who do you think I am, Brian May?"
I know it was a particularly tense drive back all the way from Sevenoaks to Maidstone, then back again
I don't even remember that. I blanked that out, so that must have been traumatising because I've blanked it out of my memory.
Have you? Yeah. I think everyone was bad mouthing you at the time, including me having to drive you back.
Actually, that's ridiculous. Surely I could have borrowed a plectrum from someone, couldn't I?
Well, we tried that, but you got all sniffy.
That might have been in the days that Paul Bradford wasn't using plectrums, so he didn't have any, in which case no one else in the band would have had any plectrums, would they?
No, maybe.
So I'm just defending myself on that front, but I can't remember it, so I'm not even convinced it happened.
Okay. I'll move on to the next point then, because I can see you getting a bit angry. Number 4, without habits, you'd be paralysed by endless deliberation from the moment you woke each day. Whether to shower then eat, or then eat then shower, what to eat, what to wear, which route to take to work, or where to park.
Yeah,
life is much easier, isn't it, when things are automated?
Yeah, and again, it goes back to that same thing about to what extent are you a creature of habit?
Yeah,
we all have some of those.
Yes,
but some of us have more than others.
Some of those. Your voice went like that then.
Did it? Actually, I noticed a couple of weeks ago when. I think it was the first week you had your new camera, and you said, "I've got a new camera," and I said, "I thought I could see you more clearly," and my voice went so high I was falsetto. Perhaps that's what happens when I get excited.
That's what it is.
Why I'd be excited about seeing you more clearly, I have no idea.
Well, no, God knows.
What was I going to say about that? Yes, it's that same point, isn't it, about making life simpler, automation.
Yeah.
But I don't know how far it goes with you. I mean, Beth, my daughter, and I are pretty similar in these regards. If anything, she's kind of more a creature of habit than I am. Once she likes something, she can't see the point in changing it. She says, "I know I like it. Why would I try something different?" And whilst a lot of people would find that odd, there is actually a lot of logic in it.
There is a lot of logic in that, and I think that a lot of people would agree. That's right. But going on to number 5.
Yeah.
Sort of leads on from what you're saying there. Habits can also be comforting. If you follow the same routines each day, and I do like a routine, then you mostly know what to expect. If this suits you, then in personality terms, you are probably a low scorer in openness to experience. Just another way of looking at it. A tendency that tends It says a tendency that tends to grow with age. I'm not sure that's correct English, but anyway.
Tendency that tends to grow with age.
Yeah.
What a tendency? So is it saying that we tend to become less open to experiences?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it's saying.
I think that's probably, well, in my case, that's been true, I think.
Yeah, we become more creatures of habit. A downside to habits is not only are some of them obviously unhealthy, but having too many can hamper your creativity and deprive you of serendipity. Everyone likes a bit of serendipity.
Love a bit of serendipity. Yeah.
That was the name of my dad's boat that he used to have on the.
I remember
on the river.
I remember. Yeah. So the point of that quote is really don't let your habits get so far that it makes your life smaller.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think to a large extent that's very much in the eye of the beholder. You know, you have to be the arbiter of when have my habits become so ingrained that now my life is becoming less satisfying. Because it's not for someone else to say, well, you know, your habits are destructive now, you know, it's making your life more miserable. You know, we have to feel that. We have to be honest with ourselves about the extent to which our rigid adherence to habits is either kind of keeping us happy or making us unhappy.
Yeah, it's getting that balance again, isn't it? Well, we talk about that so often.
Yeah.
Getting the correct balance. But I wanted to look at the top 10 bad habits because
I'm looking forward to this.
Well, there was loads. I mean, look it up and see. You sort of got to sift through. There's loads of different surveys and things, but they're looking really at habits which are, or top 10 bad habits. But the top one, I don't think is any surprise, is excessive alcohol consumption.
Is it? So where does this come from? This top 10 bad habits?
I can't remember which site I was on when I was looking at it.
Right.
Because there was other sites that said that were, you know, the top 45 bad habits. I thought, God, I'll be here forever going through that.
Okay,
and they were then segmented up into bad habits with food and bad habits with this and bad habits with that. These are general ones, really.
Okay, so this probably wouldn't bear empirical. It's not sort of empirically researched.
I wouldn't say so. I don't.
Okay.
But it's too subjective, anyway, isn't it? This habits.
Yeah. Okay. So alcohol, certainly in terms of top 10 bad habits, where this podcast is concerned,
yeah,
alcohol would definitely be top, wouldn't it?
Excessive alcohol consumption. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next one was smoking cigarettes.
Oh, that's interesting. So smoking's below alcohol. Perhaps do you think that's perhaps because fewer people smoke these days and actually most people drink?
I think so. Or it may not be in any particular order.
Okay.
I may not be starting off with the one that was most voted for.
Okay, so they're not necessarily in order of importance.
No.
Okay.
The next one, which is quite important, is following an irregular sleep schedule.
Right. Well, I'd put that right up there because all the research shows that irregular sleep can have a devastating impact on you emotionally and physically.
It can, but is that a habit? I suppose it is. Is it? You can get into a bad habit of not. But I mean, some people. I'm certainly in recovery. We're craving that to come back. That sleep pattern, because it takes a long time in early recovery. You're constantly in a state of where your sleep pattern is as irregular as it was when you were in the madness, where it was a sort of a drink collapse sort of situation. No real natural sleep. So it takes a while to get that back.
Yeah, you're in a kind of habit of no habit, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
So for instance, I can think of lots of people I've worked with over the years who habitually, I think I can use that word, habitually will stay up too late. I'm not going to call it a phenomenon because I don't think it is, but I've worked with a lot of people who they know they're tired, but they find it hard to go to bed. It's like they want to wring a little bit more out of the day, or sometimes people avoid going to bed because they don't want to have to face getting up in the morning. So that is habitual, isn't it?
It is.
I've got into this habit now of staying up past when my body actually wants rest. So I think that is a very destructive habit.
It is. I think it can, and I relate to. I used to do that because I didn't really want the next day to start. I'd stay up as late as possible when it was quiet outside, and the phones wouldn't ring, and it was quite nice. But it doesn't do any good. So my sleep pattern is when it came back, it was one of the real joys of recovery. One of the rewards that you really embrace.
Right. So now I imagine you'd say that your sleep pattern now is habitual but healthy.
Yes. Yeah, I know roughly what time I go to bed. I know what time exactly I get up.
Exactly.
or wake up. The next one was ignoring physical symptoms of potential health problems.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
It is a big one, isn't it? When I was reading, I thought, oh, I think we've all done that. In fact,
Especially men. Especially men.
Yeah. In fact, it did come up in groups yesterday where someone was had a particular health issue, and they said, "Oh, I don't really want to know if it's good or bad." But I think it's being in that limbo of not knowing whether it's you find a little lump, for example, you don't know if it's good or bad, or if the prognosis is good or bad. It's that not knowing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's destructive in itself, because if you find a lump and you don't know what it is, you're going to feel anxious about the lump. So you're going to experience anxiety whichever way it goes. You might as well have it checked out and then know whether there's a reason to feel anxious or not.
Yeah.
Because not having it checked isn't going to free you from the anxiety.
It's not, is it? No.
Never.
But a lot of us do it, don't think, oh, I hope that goes away. But we know early diagnosis is the key anyway. If it is a problem, get it sorted out. And the next one was eating in front of the TV. I think probably something we've all been guilty of. Is that bad? I suppose it is. It's bad. It breaks up the old traditional sort of nuclear family of all sitting around the dining room table and discussing things over dinner, which we used to do as a family.
Yeah.
But I think that's generally died out, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose this is a good example of one where context is everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you live in a family unit and all of you kind of eat separately in front of the telly, then probably there is something lost there in your family. But again, it's not. I don't think it's for someone outside to say, well, that's necessarily bad.
No.
If there is disharmony in your family, and you're a family who never sits down and shares a meal together and talks, then that might be a bad habit, because you're missing opportunities to rectify things that could be rectified. But I think, at the other end of that spectrum, all of us probably have quite enjoy sometimes sitting down with something in front of the telly or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? I think if it becomes, if that's the way you always eat and you kind of ignore the other people that you live with, then that's probably not great.
No, that's right. But I know you. I mean, you have a dining room table that you sit round to eat, don't you? And there's something nice about that. We've
always done that as a family. Yeah. We've always eaten together. I mean, obviously, sometimes the kids, now that they're grown up, they're not around. But if we're all around, we eat together. We don't eat separately. It's just that's.
But it's the conversation you can have over the dinner table, which is nourishing.
It is, yeah.
So I think it's something that is being lost, really. The next one, which is to do with eating as well, is another bad habit, apparently, skipping meals in an effort to lose weight, which you hear of a lot of people doing that.
Well, that's definitely a bad habit, because it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work, and it can engender eating disorders, which obviously is a bad way forward.
Yeah, if you're missing meals in order to lose weight, then what you're trying to do is you're kind of trying to shortcut the process. If I eat less overall, but really I think all the research shows that in order to achieve sustainable weight loss, you need to kind of change your relationship with food. Missing meals that's no good.
It's not good. I remember you saying to me that if you eat healthily, you never need to go on a diet, which is probably true, isn't it?
It is. Although having said that, I missed lunch yesterday, and then I went out in the afternoon and I was absolutely flipping starving by dinner time, so I had to take a bit of my own advice. But then I couldn't call it a habit, because it's quite rare that I would do that.
Yes, doesn't fall into that category. The next one, which we covered in last week's episode, actually, was engaging in negative self-talk. We don't have to say anything more about that, really. We covered it all last week, didn't we?
Yeah, if you didn't hear last week's episode, then you should go and listen to it.
Get yourself back on that one, yeah. We go on to the next one, having workaholic tendencies. I think we've discussed how I don't like anything with holic written on the end of anything. But I don't want to go down that route again. But I think we understand what that means. It's getting a work-life balance out of kilter, isn't it? And that can be a habit of staying late in the office, for example, can't it? Or doing work at weekends that, at home when you should be doing other stuff, really.
No, I think that's probably got worse in recent years. I think people, whether you call it workaholism or, whatever you want to call it, that inability to strike a balance between work and personal life. I think the problem with that is it becomes kind of self-perpetuating, because the more you abandon the rest of your life in favor of trying to get on at work, the more you lose touch with those things that are in the rest of your life, and the harder it is then to pick them up again.
Yeah.
And it also becomes kind of intoxicating when you're kind of working hard. You're perhaps getting approval from your superiors and peers, and you think, oh, this is good, this is good. It kind of works you into this frenzy of thinking that work's the most important thing, and this kind of relationship between achievement and feeling valuable. You know, the more I achieve, the more valuable I feel, which is, that in itself is quite dangerous. You know, that's a connection that's important for us to break.
Yeah, I agree.
I certainly am not a workaholic. I can assure you of that.
You've got your balance about right now, haven't you?
I think I have. You know, I think even when I worked in the corporate world, I don't know how you feel about this, but when I worked in the corporate world, I know that, you know, sometimes I lost that balance, but I always kicked against it. I don't think I've ever been someone who's been so invested in work that work is what I wanted to do. I think, you know, at those times where I felt there wasn't enough space for the rest of my life, I resented it. I don't know how you felt about it.
No, I chased the Yankee dollar for a number of years. So yeah, I was way out of balance on that.
Well, you were good at sort of focusing on things and sticking to them, aren't you?
Totally, yeah.
That's the addict mindset.
It is very much, and sometimes it can work in your favour, but often it doesn't. It does unbalance your life. But the last couple a bit more. Well, one of it, the next one came up was biting your fingernails. Now, you used to love a bit of that, didn't you, at one time? Definitely. I don't know if you still do.
I probably do a little bit, but it's certainly not anything I've never got long fingernails.
No.
So I probably do still bite them.
Do you cut them?
Do I cut them?
Yeah, do you snip them off, or do you? So you must bite them.
They never get that. They would never get that long.
Oh, right, okay.
I wouldn't allow them to get that long. So I think that is that again. That one is, I don't know. It doesn't negatively affect my life.
No.
I don't know where I stand on that one. Do you bite your nails? You don't, do you?
No. The next one was failing to go to the dentist regularly.
Yeah, that's bad.
It is bad.
It hurts, doesn't it, if your teeth hurt?
It hurts when you go and hurts when you don't. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Although I do find it's much more of a painless experience going to the dentist these days. But I just wanted to quickly go on to a few of the little tips. I don't want us to drag this out too long. We've covered some of them a little bit, but identifying triggers. So it's knowing when or whom or how you feel, and does it follow certain events? But certainly with when we're looking at people lapsing, or come to terms with the fact that they're going to have these triggers come along and how to deal with them. So identifying the triggers, so you can sort of work out when you've got to put a bit of effort in if you want to change a habit.
Oh, you know Adrian Chiles?
I do, yeah.
He's just written a book about drinking.
Yeah, he's had a documentary about it as well, didn't it, with him on it, about his drinking habits. Yeah,
and he advocates cutting down, which, of course, we've spoken about a lot. You know,
we have.
And we were having a conversation about how you can cut down if you're not a problem drinker.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And so where was I going with this? I was just thinking that part of that understanding when something, part of understanding when to step in and kind of change behaviour, makes a massive difference to how comfortable you feel with drinking. Because I was saying, whenever I have a drink now, if I have a beer or something, I never worry about my drinking because I know I don't have a problem with it.
Sure.
Because sometime in my past, I don't know how it happened. It probably didn't even happen consciously, but there was something that said, actually, I don't really want to drink very much anymore. He's probably hanging around with you so much. And so in a way, it makes the whole process more enjoyable for me because it's never something that's on, I would never be in that position where I think, I wonder if I've drunk too much this week, or I wonder if I should have a day off alcohol because I haven't had one for 6 days. And actually being able to think of it like that is quite freeing. Now, I know obviously you can't do that if you're in recovery.
No, you can't. But I think sometimes especially with Adrian Chiles, for example, if he's writing a book about it, that he's worried about his drinking, he may well have a problem, because most people don't write books about it or do documentaries about it if you wouldn't do it, for example. So he's either knocking on the door of having a bad issue with it, or he's in denial.
We should get him on.
Yeah. Okay. If you're listening,
quiz him about it. Adrian, if you're listening, We'd like to have you on and quiz you about your drinking habits.
Let's have a word, yeah. Next one was focus on why you want to change. Focusing on the benefits that are going to result from that. If you do change, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I think part of the reason that's so important is because, as we've been saying this morning, don't think that just because something is a habit, it's bad.
Yeah, quite.
So if you're thinking, I've got into a habit here, I want to change it, be clear about what the benefit to changing is and why it's necessary to change it. You know, if you have got 12 boxes of breakfast cereal lined up, perhaps you want to save a bit of your money, or you want to try porridge, or smashed avocado on toast or something.
Whatever floats your boat. But but the next one was replacing the habit with a different one, which we always advocate in recovery, because if you're replacing a habit, it's sort of easier than just stopping the old one. So putting something in its place, I think, is a great way forward, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's true of probably a lot of the examples that we've spoken about. When we were talking about excessive working, one of the ways in which you can stop I keep wanting to say workaholism now, but I'm not going to because that upsets you. But one of the ways in which you can readdress that kind of work-life imbalance is it's okay to kind of push back at work and to say no to things and set yourself boundaries at the times you work. But that isn't enough. You've also got to re-engage with other stuff in your life that makes you realise why it's enjoyable not to be at work all the time.
Yeah.
So that's the other part of the equation, finding something else to put in the space that work was sitting in.
When you go into recovery, there's a massive hole in your life where a big habit of drinking and taking drugs was. You need to, if you just give that up and do nothing else, it's going to be tricky. But if you put something else in its place, we always encourage, going back to perhaps some of your old the ways that you used to live when you were sober, like taking up some of your old arts and crafts and that sort of thing, re-engaging.
What did you do in early recovery? Because I know in kind of longer term recovery, you started running groups. You started getting involved. I mean, I know you heavily involved yourself with peer support, didn't you? But what else did you do in the early days of recovery that was filling the space that, let's face it, was mostly taken up by drinking vodka?
It was, yeah. Re-engaging with my artwork was a good one. Was just refocusing on that and getting my old pens and my pencils and my brushes out, which I hadn't done for an awful long time. Starting reading again, which was something that sadly dropped by. And I think listening to music again, which I'd pretty much stopped. Everything had bad memories. Yeah. So I was rebuilding my lost decade of music. So I spent a lot of time doing that and cataloguing them, as you probably remember.
Yeah, of course you did. Catching up with the releases by Journey, Boston and Foreigner that you'd missed.
Well, I didn't miss any of them in that sense. But certainly there's bands that I'd sort of rediscovered or discovered for the first time that had been around for a long time. So that was just a joy. But and that did take up quite a bit of time because it's almost open-ended, isn't it? It's a bit like going into a library knowing you're never going to read every book.
Yeah, but I mean, that's important though, isn't it? Because if anyone's listening and they're early in recovery, then what you're really saying is think about who you were before you fell into addiction.
Yeah.
Try and re-engage with some of the things that person enjoyed doing. It might take you a bit of a while to kind of sort through things that are still enjoyable, but actually doing that in and of itself can be an enjoyable exercise, just kind of trying stuff.
That's the thing. I mean, you can go back and re-engage with some of your old, I was going to use the word habits then, but or certain activities. But it also gives you're a clean slate. You can start to look at new things and start to enjoy new things which you didn't do before. If you spent 10 years out of society, as I did, there's a lot that you've changed over that 10 years enormously. So the different things float your boat anyway. So it gives you a chance to reinvent yourself and to relook at what is important to you.
Yeah.
So that's about it. There was a couple of other ones, but I don't want to drag this on too long. Well, there was just start small, as we've said before with other things. If you want to change habits, don't try and do them all at once. If you've identified those, do one at a time. And practice self-care, which is, it's easier to create positive changes, isn't it, when they're beginning from a place of wellness.
Yeah, and part of practicing self-care when you're changing habits is recognising that you don't have to be perfect. And I mean,
Yes.
I'm not really. I'm not talking about recovery from addiction here. It's not okay for you to have the odd drink. But what I am saying is, when you're trying to change something, recognize that some days will be more difficult than others, and you might find, you might slip back occasionally, but everything points towards how people that are the most successful at changing their habits are people who stick with it and are kind and compassionate towards themselves, even when things get tough.
Yeah. Well, I think that's an important point. It's important to prepare yourself sometimes mentally for slip-ups because they may happen. You've got to prepare yourself so you don't feel guilty, really, or discouraged if you do have a bit of a slip.
Which is different from expecting them to happen.
Yes.
You don't have to expect them to happen, but you do have to recognise that you're human.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you might not reach the levels of expectation that you set for yourself.
I agree. And to round this bit up, it's just a little quote. It's not one for well, we can discuss it if you like, but it's remind yourself that you are a work in progress. I think it's great. We're always moving, aren't we? So it's not that we're not looking at quick fixes here. We're not looking at ways of changing things dramatically overnight. It's a work in progress. And we are every day. For me, I'm still a work in progress right up to the day I die. And I'm sure we all are.
Yeah, I think if you can accept that, if you recognise that you'll never be the finished article, you take a lot of pressure off yourself.
Yeah. So that's, right. I think it's quite a good place to round that up before we go on to the gratitude list. Well, mine's a bit, I think most people will have this on the gratitude list, really. So I expect a lot of people will relate. And it is spiced lentil and butternut squash soup. Do you relate to that?
Well, I mean, I do. I do quite like spiced lentil and butternut squash soup. I'm not sure it would necessarily feature on my gratitude list, but yeah.
I know. Well, the reason is I went to a dinner party on Friday, and and Jez, who's one of our listeners, he put this together, and
nice.
and I said to him, it sounds horrible. But the taste was absolutely...
Do you think so? I think it sounds lovely.
So I was grateful for that. So that was a new experience and grateful to be invited in the first place. That was nice. But it was...
Sounds quite thick.
Yeah, it was.
Quite thick?
Yeah.
See, I think...
Which I really like.
I think I probably would have liked it, but if I had to eat something else afterwards, it might fill me up a bit too much.
Well, you don't have too much of it. It's an aperitif, isn't it?
Oh, it's an aperitif, is it? What, do you have in a glass? An amuse-bouche, was it?
Amuse-bouche, yeah.
Right. No, that's nice. I mean, I'm all for homemade soups.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Lovely. That's good. So what about yours?
This week, I'm grateful for... This is going to surprise you. I'm grateful to be able to go out.
Okay.
But as much about going out as being able to come back home again.
Which we touched on last week, coming back in out of the rain.
Exactly. But this is slightly different because yesterday, and I suppose it's kind of slightly broader than that. It's nice. I feel grateful that my children now have reached the age where they can take me out to do things.
Oh, yeah. That is nice, actually, isn't it?
So my son and his girlfriend took us yesterday to the Van Gogh immersive.
Oh,
exhibition.
wicked. Oh, did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. And we went up there and we had a look around that, and then we went off for dinner, and then we came back home again. And it was lovely. It was really lovely to be out. And as I say, because I don't go out very much. So I got double whammy because I enjoyed going out, and it was really nice to come back home again and think, I've actually been out on a Saturday. I can't remember that's the last time that happened. So
that is a nice feeling. Is it still in Whitechapel up the east end of London?
It is.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, well, daysoftheyear.com. There's just a couple. The first one was World Kindness Day.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, so a random act of kindness to a stranger. Or to people you know.
Done? What have you done today?
Nothing is yet. I haven't even been out.
Have you got anything planned?
No, I haven't. No, but if it happens, I'll think, do you know what? It's World Kindness Day today. I'm going to have a go at this. All
right. If you see me, you can give me a $5 or something.
But it does say to a stranger. I mean, I know you're strange, but I wouldn't say stranger.
I could wear a disguise. Will that help?
Well, you could you come in under the second one as well, which is National Hug a Musician Day. Okay. So if you want someone to hug you, you ought to tell them it's Hug a Musician Day, and they can give you a little squeeze.
Have you ever hugged a musician?
Yeah, I think so.
Have you?
Yeah.
Which musicians have you?
I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I'm shaking hands with them and stuff. Yeah, probably.
I don't think. Do you know what? I'm not sure I've ever hugged a musician. I mean a musician that isn't a friend.
Yeah, for a famous musician. Yeah, and I don't think I've hugged.
Well, they don't even have to be famous, but someone who is a musician and is not a friend. I don't think I've ever hugged a musician.
No, well, today could be that day. You to change it.
Right. Okay.
You got to find someone to hug.
Find a musician and hug them randomly.
Cover both bases there, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Okay. Good.
On this day in music, there's two things. 1964, the Rolling Stones released "Little Red Rooster," which I know it was a cover version, but I loved that track. I remember hearing that as a child and thinking that is great.
I'm not a massive Rolling Stones fan.
No, I know you're not. It's just my mum was, and she
too popular.
She used to play all those. But I think more importantly, on this day in 1990.
Oh,
okay, so it's more recent, really. Patricia Boulton. Now, she's an American lady. She filed a lawsuit against Rod Stewart, okay, claiming that the football he'd kicked into the crowd, okay, because he used to do that, didn't he? You're laughing already, all right? Rod Stewart, so he kicked a football into the crowd. This was at the Pine Knob Music Theatre.
The Pine Knob?
I remember that.
Imagine having a Pine Knob.
Pine Knob Music Theatre.
Dear, oh dear.
So he kicked it. So the lawsuit was launched because he kicked this football into the crowd. It ruptured a tendon in her middle finger. Okay. now that's not bad enough. But as a result, the injury had made sex between her and her husband difficult, which is what it was.
Hey?
I know.
It made sex difficult? Yeah, hang on. She ruptured a tendon in her middle finger.
Yeah, you wonder what they've been getting up to, but it's...
Well, that puts me in mind of Meatloaf. I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that.
Do you know what? That went through my mind as well. Anyway, I don't know.
Did she win?
I couldn't find anything further on that. I doubt it's successful. I did look up Pine Knob's Music Theatre because I thought that was a great name. But it's in. Let me just put my glass on. I think it's Clarkston in Michigan. But it's the address is 33 Bob Seger Drive.
Oh, do you like Bob Seger, or is he too American rock for you?
A bit too American. I know my brother. Used to like my older brother used to like Bob Seger. So I did hear some. Yeah, I like some of his tracks, but a little bit rocky. But yeah, I could get away.
Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hollywood Nights. Yeah, that was a bit rocky. But some of his other more obscure tracks on his albums are okay. Yeah, they're all right. But yeah, so he's got a drive named after him in Michigan, near the Pine Knob Theatre.
Pine Knob Music.
I'm glad.
Theatre.
You wouldn't want a pine knob, would you?
Not really.
Imagine. I mean, it takes them up. It takes some looking after, wouldn't it?
If you're going to get your sex life ruined, that's where you want to get it ruined. Really, it completes the circle, doesn't it? So that's an important day in music, though. You've got to agree.
One of the most important. Yeah.
It made me laugh when I read it. I thought I've got to put that in. So that's about it. That's about it, mate.
All right. Good. I'll see you next time.
See you next time. Take it easy.
Laters.
Bye for now.
Bye. Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandy-wellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.